Hello there, everyone. So, I'll admit, I haven't got Infinity Ultron. You may have guessed based on how long it took to get this video out. But, I've had something on my mind that I just want to talk about. Okay, so first of all, I just want to say thank you very much for all the support on this video from last week. Even though it's not actually on the screen right now, it's one of my best performing videos so far, so thank you very much for all the support there. This comment, though, it did stand out, and I haven't actually responded to it in any way yet because I haven't actually known what to say exactly. So Miguel was saying, I'd like a video showing how to build a good control deck, Sera control with advanced tips. Because, let's face it, not all players have all the cards to build the decks they see online. It's better to teach how to build a good control deck so everyone can tailor it to their own needs. I'll be honest, I'm a little confused at the comment in some ways, just for the fact that I feel like that's kind of what the video I did before showed, in terms of it was a Sera control deck. But I don't know if there was maybe an idea of actually showing how to build the deck. Yeah, I found that just slightly odd. But what I can actually do is I can just detail what I was essentially thinking when I went into building that deck. So, first of all, right, a lot of the ideas I do get come from net decking. I know it's a bit of a controversial thing, but it is somewhere that I start at the very least. And I must be clear, I wouldn't call myself a deck builder anyway. But when I'm trying to make these videos, I do try my best to build my own decks. But in this case, I was thinking to myself, right, the main thing I was building around was Shadow King. So I typed Shadow King. I was like, where's he popular right now? And yeah, you can see he's got like a place in Clog at the moment. There's this, I suppose you could call this a control deck of sorts. But yeah, Clog again, that seems to be the main place. And we've got Sera control here as well. This is a different kind to the one I showed in the last video, but it's got Cable, Mobius, Juggernaut. You know, some interesting cards there, but I wouldn't say it's my personal preference or flavor of it. Yeah, Clog seems to be the most popular one though. So when I was actually building it, it wasn't just searching for Shadow King. I'd be like, okay, I want Sera in the deck as well. At the time, Enchantress was almost a must because obviously it's a very ongoing meta. So you get to this point where you're putting cards in and you start to think, well, okay, what do I like? What do I not like? And we eventually get to the archetype that we did come to. I mean, when you think that actually doesn't have a great win rate when you look at it like that. I mean, what's my stats at the end? Because obviously I've been playing it a lot more. I reached Infinite using that deck. But I don't know exactly what the stats have been for it. Let's have a look. Here we go. So I wouldn't say the stats have been fantastic. 54% win rate, 39 games, 10 net cubes, but it did get me over the line. So I think what you could say is it's reliable at what it does, but it's not the most powerful deck. It won't pump up great numbers. It's just capable of actually answering questions that opponents will have, and especially at the time I was recording, there were a lot of decks that had big numbers. Like you got your Khonshu's, you got Captain Carter's with the ongoing. That week we'd obviously got Kahori. Week before we'd had Goliath. So there were a lot of cards that were coming in that got certain things that deck could answer. Essentially, what you really want to do when you're building the Sera control deck is you want to find, obviously you've got Sera for starters, but you want to find out what the key components are in the current meta. So a lot of these cards are accessible. Fenris is very much a flavor pick. You don't need Fenris in the deck, but he's kind of nice for when you want to swing power with Shang-Chi or Gladiator. Iron Patriot again is a flavor pick because it's a good 2-cost card at the moment, but again, you could throw something in that's 2-cost that's not as impactful. Armor is one that I would suggest because it's great at countering destroy decks and also capable of protecting any cards you want staying on the board. Also, sometimes just a 1-cost like Kitty Pryde can be good in terms of just a decent bit of tempo, nothing too crazy. Lizard as well as a 2-drop is pretty decent at 2/6. You've got Enchantress that can take away the negative ongoing there, so also Luke Cage as well. So there are Series 5s in here, I don't want to deny it. But it's like if we were to build from scratch, right? Let's go into the game. If we were to build from scratch, a Sera control deck that was budget. Let's just start from 5 cost. Let's put Sera in the deck. Okay, so what do you do from that? Well, first of all, I'd be thinking to myself, do we want a 1 cost? And for the purpose of this, I will say Kitty Pryde. I mean, let me just double check Kitty Series 3. I would call that accessible, so we're going to do that. Let's go to 2 costs, because again, 2 costs for me is the prime area. So let's see. I'm trying to remember what we've included already. So Shadow King for me is a really nice option. Actually, let's go for base art. I think base art could be quite nice just for this. I did mention armor before. Again, I feel like that could be a good shout. I'm going to do my best to avoid any of these Series 5 cards because, like, Jeff's a great card, but you don't want to throw him in there if it's a hard-to-acquire card. Scarlet Witch, by the way. Scarlet Witch is obviously a very starter-friendly card, but it's got the randomness, so it all depends. Do you want that, or do you want to avoid it? Personally, I avoid randomness where I can, but there is an argument for it. So I mentioned Lizard before. Let's pop Lizard in. Then let's go to the 3 costs. Here we go. So let's see. We want Luke. I think Rogue does have viability at times. Cosmo. Cosmo can be a good boy. Killmonger, I think, is kind of, I won't say crucial, but very useful in these kind of decks. Juggernaut as well, I think we can slip in here. Alright, and then let's just have a look at the 4s. So, I feel like Shang-Chi has to be in control decks. I feel like he's just such a prevalent part of them. Similarly, Enchantress. I know that we've got Rogue, but I feel like it's 2 different answers to the same problem. And at that point, you do have this little thing of, right, well, what else? Because there are certain things that you're not going to be... How do I phrase it? If you've got, like, Sera on the board, you want as many low costs as possible. So I can't help but look here and think, do we want another 4 cost? Or do we want to go higher and even go for a 6? Something like, say, Doctor Doom. Because I do think there is some loose viability for Doom in a Sera control deck in terms of it will be 5 cost with Sera. You could then play, say, a Shadow King, a Lizard. There is some loose viability there. And I'm looking here and I think all of these are Series 3 or below. So in theory, there is some viability for this deck. Now, the bottom line this all comes down to, if we go back to the original post, a good control deck with advanced tips, not all players have all the cards to build the decks they see online. So I would like to think that whether you've been playing the game a while, or whether this is something brand new, this is a deck you could potentially build. Because all of these are Series 3 or below, so they're not going to be instant. Series 3 does take a while to complete, but they're all cards that you can aim to get. You know, it's not like the Series 4 or 5 where there's a little bit more RNG and a little bit more patience needed to get them. So yeah, I feel like there's a lot of positives in this essential starting shell, shall we say. So I'll tell you what, right? I'm going to run a few battles with it, and we're going to see if this has got legs. Now, I've just created this on the spot, as you've seen as well, so I've got no idea if this has got any viability or not, but we're going to see what we can do. All right, let's go in there. All right, just before I start, I've had a little change of mind. One little change. Kitty Pryde we're taking out. Nova is going in. Simple fact, Killmonger, Nova, brilliant combination. I should have thought of that before. Okay, let's get in there. All right, first opponent. I'm not even going to try and say their name because that is a very difficult name to try and say. Elysium's the featured location today, so we may see that a fair bit. Cheat card, yay. Okay, let's just get this on my screen so I can see what we're doing. Okay. Tarnax. Now, that could be quite interesting with a lot of what we've got going on. Now, I think I will play Cosmo right. It's a bit of a gamble because you don't know what they're going to play where, but sometimes it works. So Conchu discarded. MODOK discarded. Okay, that could be a plus on our side. It all depends what that right-hand card was that they were trying to get rid of. Okay, so +1 energy. I'm almost tempted to just throw these down like this. We need more cards. Alright, Khonshu brings back MODOK. Okay, so that right lane's looking very unattainable. Although that has hopefully helped us with any potential swarms. I'm going to hold fire for a minute because none of these cards are a card I want playing that middle lane. Yeah, they discard a swarm. They had a Sentinel to the hand, so fair enough. You can always throw another into Tarnax if they want. Alright, we're going to do Doom in the middle. That way we get the Doom bots, plus we roll a 6. Could be a good 6, could be a bad 6. Like it. Destroyer would be pretty heartbreaking, but it would also open up the riot a little bit. Cosmogon? What's going? Okay. Alright, Cosmo in the mid is annoying. But if it was Destroyer now, I wouldn't be complaining. Okay, that's sad. Okay. Let's do that. Do that. I don't know. I don't mind seeing the game out, but that is not great. I mean, we took a bit of power away there, but it wasn't going to be anything important. I can't think of any 5s that would spread power across multiple lanes. Nah. Okay, so that was a pretty bad one. Not gonna lie. Alright, next up, we've got the Collector. Or just Collector. So Lemuria, I'm actually happy as a turn 1 location. Our opponent's feeling confident. Either that or because they're an infinite, they don't mind snapping. I wouldn't know if they are. Alright, let's pop down the lizard. Alright, that might be a good sign to him that I've got an Enchantress. Okay, Luke getting a hit was not ideal. I think we rogue there. We get that Ant-Man. That's not the worst. Although, I wouldn't be against actually just Enchantressing. You know, that'd be like, okay. It won't be the worst. Let's Luke Cage ourselves. Okay. It does feel a bit like this 4D chess going on here. Boys, where Super Scroll would have been a good inclusion in this deck.
Doom rules all.
Avengers! Assemble.
Okay, so what's on the right? Hey! That was a decent win. I think they were that expectant on me playing an ongoing that it was like, oh, that right lane's got no power in it. So that was alright. I will take that as a 4-cuber. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, so we're up against NickSayfer. No cards available turn 1, so let's skip. Jotunheim. Now that's very good with Luke Cage. I always feel like you don't want to play Luke early in these situations just because you don't want to give away that you've got the lane winner. Okay, that's quite interesting. Let's do that. We get Rogue to nick the Morbius, and we've got Lizard just to put some tempo down. Plus, if they do a Moon Knight or something, Rogue goes up a little bit. Alright, now we haven't got a way of competing there. We haven't got a Red Guardian, because obviously that's Series 5. We haven't got Lady Deathstrike. I think that's Series 4, maybe Series 3. I don't know. But now I'm going to skip. Okay, Gambit.
I am reborn.
Alright, Rogue gone, that's fine. And another Morbius. Fair play. Sorry, not Morbius, Blade onto APOC. Now, when we're talking about potential builds for Sera control, one thing I would say is, this is where Invisible Woman does have a small bit of viability, because if you were to put, say, Invisible Woman there, that would be great then to hide a Shadow King. But we're talking about very specific cases here in the sense of that would kind of have to happen. Alright, let's do that and that, I guess. Okay, good to know, I guess. Alright, Sari came out way too late there, love. Honestly, I think we just played that. Ugh. I did loot last turn, didn't I? Eesh, I don't really like that, but 5 power instead of 6, but it means we're not essentially throwing away. Oh, I don't like this. Let's throw 2 in just in case. Maybe they'll double up on APOC. No. Damn it. I've probably lost the lane on that. I should have gambled that they wouldn't think I'd got the answer to it.
You won't need this anymore.
Colleen, Khonshu. That's 8 on its own. Yeah. Oh, that's annoying. If I'd have put the 3 there, I'd have drawn the line. Granted, I probably would have still lost there, but... Say, Livy. I feel like the 2 most popular archetypes at the moment are Discard and Push. So, Push being anything with, like, Stegron, Spider-Man, etc. So, it feels like this deck has got to try and answer those 2 things. Whether they do is another thing. Andreas King. I'm curious if just because the portrait, if this is that Namora deck I saw Regis running the other day. Did like it. I did have a go of it myself, but does make me wonder. Yeah, so a Pop Lizard on Asgard, that's quite difficult for him to compete with. Next turn we can Juggernaut Feast if we need to. Got a few options still. Right, Ant-Man. So we gain 4 energy. I'll just play Cosmo there for now. Alright, Galacta. I want to play Sera, but I'm in two minds. Do I buff up that lane? I think I do, because I benefit from the cards. Just feels a bit yuck. I'm also wary of space, because if I were to do Doctor Doom this next turn, then I would only have one space for, say, a Juggernaut. But 11 power, even with Galacta, it shouldn't be overtaken. Oh, they've gone Captain Carter, okay. Nova. Killmonger. Okay, we can work with that. There's actually some potentially really solid plays here, because even though you might expect Nova to be followed by Killmonger, we can kind of leave them behind a little bit. Let's do this. Just to put some power down right now. We got Luke and Rogue in deck, so I wouldn't say either of them are going to be crucial. Rogue might be useful in the right lane, maybe. Or maybe the left. Iron Man.
I am.
Definitely the
Iron
left.
Man.
Doom rules all.
That's fine. Alright, that's a 1. Is it a 1? No, it's a 2-cost rogue, I felt like Elysium was in play. So, okay, we can nick that straight away. That's a decent bit of power. We can do... That should be okay, I think. Maybe. It might be overkill in that left lane, but I don't feel like Enchantress is needed here. There's nothing that we can shank. I suppose the only downside is if Lizard gets shrunk. Then it could be an issue. But then again, we are doubling the lane, so I think we're okay.
I am Iron Man.
Alright, so that's a great flip in terms of 36 power. They're going to lose the Captain Carter buff there. Yeah, Omega Red's doing nothing there. Medusa's doing nothing there.
Victory.
I can only assume this was an attempt at D5. Because we got the 1/5 potential Ant-Man, the 2/5 potential Medusa. I don't really know where they were coming from with the Captain Carter in that sense. But Galactus 4/5, Omega Red's 4/5. But yeah, actually trying to make sense of that and work out why they're doing it like that, I just don't know. It's the kook. It's that indeed. Okay, next opponent, Samu. Let's start with a Tempo Lizard. Now, I've just seen that portrait and it made me realise I have not played Agent Venom since the Agent Venom season. That would be something worth revisiting. I mean, the card isn't bad, it's just... It really felt like it took a big hit when it went down from +4 power to +3. And it also didn't help in my view that it went up in power, like base power, because 2/5 is... Well, it's a little odd when you then deal with 3 powers. Right, I don't double Cosmo everywhere, so I think we just play down Nova for now. To win the Iron Patriot, that's fine. I couldn't have really competed there anyway. Bifrost. Okay, that's interesting. I'm almost tempted to Enchantress there now. You know what? I think we will. It's a little bit odd, but I feel like we can afford to do it now while there's no way of moving the shield. And if there is another ongoing card, we could still pull Rogue. It also protects Lizard a little bit. With Sins to London, we will fill a location. Okay, I'm going to play one Sera. We don't need all this, all the discounts because obviously Elysium's in play. We need card draw. That's the thing we're really missing. I mean, Killmonger and Doom would be the ideal next two draws. Okay. Brawl is interesting. For certain we're not getting the card we want this turn. I'm actually going to skip again. Elsa. Okay. That is a lost lion. Yeah, this is not great. I don't really see a way of winning this, but we'll do that and just hope it's enough. We made sure we played something right so that any of these discounts would be undone. Yeah, nowhere near enough. So annoying because if we had pulled Killmonger, we would have had a fair power spike then. But yeah, just not enough in the end. It is what it is. I mean, the Blade portrait would make you think discard, but that Captain's Shield gives it away a bit. Okay, I don't mind Nova. We'll play him in Lake Alice for the extra power, but there's a bit of me that fears it could get moved into Fist Tower. I'm Patriots, okay. They've got priority. But do we just try and jug them into Fist Tower? I mean, I'll take the power boost, thank you. Alright, yeah, I will definitely take Sera now. So, this is surely an Infinity Ultron game. I mean, Lunar Snow and Infinity Ultron are like paired up right now. So, where's it going? Mid, maybe? Or maybe Paris in the right? Windsor Watu. Wow, okay. It's a good job I'm happy destroying that. That's a very negative Nova. Okay, Sera. Okay, I'm happy snapping. I don't want to use Shadow King yet. Okay, Sandman is annoying. I'm assuming that's the Patriot. Oh, it's a Coulson card, right? Yeah, so that has essentially undone the effects of Sera, which again, like I say, is annoying. If we play Skillmonger there. Alright, Alex, you got my head there. And because I see no reason why not, I think we do... Actually, let's play Enchantress then, Skill. There we go. Let's see how that goes. We've got a fair chunk of power on the left already, although granted, the ice cubes will get destroyed. Ooh, that should be fine. Enchantress. Yeah, we should be all good here.
I want the throne.
Yeah, that's fine.
Victory.
Yeah, I don't think there was any real way that they were going to win that. I mean, well, at least in terms of if they played the Agamotto anywhere else, I mean, I think what they did is they saw Sera come down, so they were like, all right, Sandman, that's great, that's great. And I don't think they really thought about their own play. They were like, oh, I can play Agamotto. So yeah, I think that was what more of a play about stopping me, which is quite interesting considering I'm more about stopping them. So yeah, quite a little interesting game within the game there, I guess, but we won. Okay, MeowsMorales. Spider Society dropout. Okay, so we'll go with Lizard in the mid. Since I saw the location, that kind of felt really solid. Alright, Angela. I do like Angela. I thought I got this variant, and then I realised it's another Angela variant that's very similar. It's only a small thing, but I was like, oh, I thought I got the one that I liked, and it's still a nice one, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't the one. Yeah, the cards I want are not in my hand right now.
Clear for takeoff.
I don't think they're happy with how they're playing right now because they'll be going for, if I'm assuming right anyway, they'll be going for losing priority. Bishop. Kitty. Nova. I'm a little surprised they went that up front with the Nova.
Victory.
They knew what was coming. I know what this deck is. It's something KM Best was running the other day, and I gave it a go myself last night. It's pretty good in the sense the one that KM was running didn't have Nova in it, but it was Bishop, it was Angela, Hope, Kitty, Cap and Samuelson, Cap and the Shield, and essentially you got multiple lane winners like Angela or Sam, Bishop, etc. Hitmonkey, and the one thing that they're all susceptible to is Shadow King and Shang-Chi, which I've got one in my hand and one potentially coming out of my deck. So I completely get why they retreat, but a little bit of a shame. It would have been nice to have seen how that played out. But yeah, like I said at the start, that question in the comment, it really did hit me in the sense I didn't necessarily know the correct way to answer it. But I do feel like if you're building a deck, whether it's Sera Control or any deck, it's got to be what is the answer to the current meta. Like, you've got to have that in mind, because if you're building just with what you want to play, you're probably not going to climb as well if you know what you're going to be facing. Watch this be Rogue. Oh, Sera. I will take that back. Thank you. Okay, we both got a beneficial draw there. Asgard Besieged. Okay, I would prefer not to play there. Certainly wouldn't want to Cosmo there. Dialogue with +3 is quite powerful, quite interesting. Also, I have not seen the Watcher card back yet. That looks pretty dope. We will Lizard and we'll Luke Cage. Ooh, don't really want pair them. Yeah, for now we'll just do that. Ooh, wow, Agamotto. I found that interesting that neither of us wanted the Destroyer. It's strange because I could have just Cosmoed mid and claimed it. I need to weigh up my next move a little bit. I'm going to play Cosmo then now. Oh, hang on. No, I think we do it on the Sera right now. And we'll play Luke there. Oof, okay. Well, at least Luke's going to undo that. That doesn't feel too impactful. I mean, it's 6, 9, 11, 14. That would take us to 20. Not great. Ooh, okay. I mean, we move it. We won the right, but at what cost? Oh, that cost. Oh, hang on. We can do... I mean, again, it's not great, but we can do that. He might have actually just given me a destroy mechanic. Ugh, maybe not, though. There's not enough going on there. I like the idea that we were able to pull the Nova, but... oh. Wow. Okay, I mean, GG's, that was a good final play. But, yeah, a little bit of a bummer still. BOBOJON, the tank. So, no turn 1? Or no play turn 1? Uncle Ben. Valhalla. That could be interesting with Juggernaut. I don't think I'd want play Killmonger. Ooh, Cosmo could be good. Ooh. I genuinely don't know if this is a good idea or not. Okay, that's fine. It did the thing we wanted. I'm a little bit in two minds there, but I almost want to just dictate that. But okay, that's not ideal. Okay, so Cosmo would have prevented that anyway. If they move something, then Dream can be reduced by Shadow. But I think for now we just do that. And that. We've got power, then we can move around final turn. Even though, again, Scream's an issue. Alright, that was good timing in terms of preventing the shield giving power.
I want the throne. I want the throne.
Yeah, that's fine. So we're winning the right. Downside, we've got Nova too late. And I'm not really seeing a way to make these cards have more oomph. Maybe we can do that, that, and that. I don't think we got enough though. I think they've got this one. I mean, I'm playing Shong just in case maybe they move cards and try and play Magneto. There's just as much chance they play the Magneto left, but they might expect me to move some cards. Shadow King's there as well to reset Juggernaut to 3. But yeah, I feel like we're just lacking a bit too much here. It's hurt not getting Sera. Alright, they did move a fair bit. That will reset Craven. Ooh, okay, that could be helpful. Not saying it is, but it could be. Nah, too little. Oh, we needed way more. Oh, what a shame. Like, I feel like some of the pieces to the puzzle were there, but just not enough of them. Maybe if I'd left one card in the mid, then, like, say I'd left, I don't know, Jug there, then Lizard could have moved in there. I'm umming and ahhing a bit here, aren't I? Because it still could have gone mid. Unfortunate, but what can you do? Alright, final game. Okay, so interesting opening set. We've got Lizard for early tempo. Luke Cage can negate Lizard's darker ongoing. Actually, you know what? We will pair Lizard and Luke. That way, if they disable one, they disable the other. Elsa. Zabu. Okay. Madripoor. That's tasty. We're going to hold. I don't want to just play card down. We can do Sera into Madripoor and then Doom into Madripoor. Something tells me I'm going to get a Acid Arrow in a moment though. I'm going to Snap though because I do feel like we've got a decent hand. I mean, probably the one we're missing is Nova and after that Shadow King. We can get rid of that, so I'm not worried. Okay. I really wish we'd got I really wish we'd got Nova. We'll do that though. Alright, the discount's negated, but that's fine. We've got a fair use out of it.
Doom rules all. I want the throne.
Alright, so they've got extra power, extra energy because it's Starbrand Crater. Cosmo is too late. Oh, I mean, I'll take the retreat. I was not expecting it, so that is a welcome surprise. Okay, so we got 2 cubes out of that. Not bad to finish. So as you can see, we finished 5-5, 50% win rate and a 1 cube net. Nothing spectacular if we're going to be honest. But I would like to think that this is what you're going to get when you're using cards that aren't like top tier at the moment in certain cases. There's a reason why that last deck I didn't use Doom in this deck, why it didn't use Killmonger Nova. But personally as well, I'm not a biggest fan of Juggernaut. But it does have its uses as well. Like I say, I feel like all those matches we were close to, but just not close enough. And this is what this deck is good at. It will get you wins, but it will also come close and not close enough at times. So just to break down the matches, you can see there, you know, we had some decent 4-cubers. We had, what, a 2 and a 1, so we didn't lose by anything bad like 8. But we never lost by 8 either, so it was very balanced. And like I say, considering we just made this up here and now, I think that's fairly good. But yeah, just going back to the original question that started all this, you know. You'd like a video showing how to build a good control deck. Well, I hope at the very least I've shown it isn't the most difficult thing to do. I can't say I've got advanced tips though. I wouldn't call myself an advanced player, let alone advanced tips. But if we're talking about getting to Infinite, then I would say that essentially we've covered it a bit in this video and the last in terms of, yeah, ideally you want to lose priority a lot because that way, with the control deck, at least you've got a way to, delete the power that your opponent's put down. If you've got priority, it means they've got the ability to put cards down unopposed. So going into turn 5, you want to be losing 2 locations. That's the ideal scenario anyway. But you've also got to have the answer if you're going to do that. You know, it's alright losing the 2 locations, but if you haven't got a Shadow King, a Shang-Chi, an Enchantress, just something that is going to take down that power, then really you're essentially just trying to put numbers down, which with this deck is not always the best thing. I mean, you saw in a few of those games, I was just filling locations and hoping I had enough power, and usually I didn't. So that's where you need to just actually, that's where you won't have enough at times. You've just got to hope that you've thrown priority and it's enough. But yeah, I hope that's a good enough response to your question. Because generally, I did love this as a comment. I was like, I don't necessarily have the exact answer, which I do wish I had. But hopefully, as I've said repeatedly, it's close enough. Alright, folks. I hope you enjoyed the video. I know it's back-to-back Sera control, but I'd like to think this one's more beginner-friendly, so hopefully a little bit of difference for you. Alright, until next time, folks, I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now, everyone.